Welcome to episode number 167 of the Beyond Social Media Show, the podcast for marketing, advertising, public relations, and communications professionals. We are recording live on YouTube on December 8th, 2016. A lot of things to get through this week, as usual. The truth is out there via Netflix. Fake news has consequences. Uber tracker, barista bots, Shred.It, the best Christmas ads of 2016. I.Heart Beyond Social Media Show, the breaking news algorithm, remembering John Lennon and John Glenn, and a lot more. We always started off with the worst. BL always has the honors. BL, the worst story of the week.
Well, there's a lot of bad news this week, but this is fake news, and fake news is not going away anytime soon. And this is from a story in The Guardian by Olivia Salon. And apparently what happened was that Facebook, well, there's something called the BS detector, and that's a plugin that was created by Daniel Sirodowski. It was not created by Facebook, and it was a reaction to Facebook's false information, but unfortunately Facebook blocked it. So in a fable for our times, Sirodowski creates the tool that flags the fake news on Facebook with big red warning signs. It was there for about a day. And then someone else installs the tool, forgets about it, and then mistakenly assumes that the red warning signs are evidence of Facebook's own effort to tackle the problem. And then the reputable, very reputable technology website TechCrunch writes a story about Facebook's new experiment without doing any fact checking, therefore generating its own piece of fake news.
Fake news. Oh my God.
The icing on the cake, the fake news detector fails to recognize that the TechCrunch piece is fake.
Well, that's a funny fake news story, but a bigger fake news story that has been in the news all over is Pizzagate. This is from a Verge article by Lizzie Plogic, and if you haven't heard, you should know. Sunday, a man fired a rifle in the Comet Ping Pong Pizza Parlor in Washington, D.C., which is at the center of an internet conspiracy theory dubbed Pizzagate that claims that the restaurant is a haven for a child abuse ring that's headed up by Bill and Hillary Clinton and Clinton's campaign manager, John Podesta. The gunman, the deranged gunman, obviously, was self-investigating the conspiracy theory that he read about online. Now, other pizzerias are being accused of being part of this wacky conspiracy. New York's pizzeria Roberta's in Brooklyn received threatening phone calls linked to Pizzagate. These conspiracies seem to be catching fire on Reddit. Surprise, surprise. Then they migrate to other conspiracy-friendly sites after they get kicked off Reddit. Recent Washington Post article claims there's a disproportionate amount of tweets about Pizzagate coming from places like Czech Republic and in Vietnam. Many of the accounts are being driven by are bot-driven. That suggests there's foreign influence. I mean, why? There's no real profit motive for using Twitter to promote tweets, right? So it suggests messing around with Americans, basically. These things kind of take hold via a combination of things. So usually they're ideologically driven. Somebody's promoting them with an ideological agenda behind them. Foreign agents, as I mentioned, can help promote them. Gullible people willing to believe them, spread them. People sharing them because they think they're funny. People mocking those that believe in them, and all that activity tends to promote the visibility of these things in social channels, because social channels are the algorithms are engineered to promote things that people pay a lot of attention to. But the consequences of fake news aren't limited to political campaigns, as this story shows. The pizzeria itself suffered, a problem from it. So what do you do to protect yourself from fake news as a company, as an organization, as a brand? Understand fake news, understand how it works. I actually wrote a blog post about this for my agency's blog, which we'll link to. Build a loyal online following who are ready and willing to defend you in case you get smeared. Set up a social listening framework and with these fake news sites, so that if your brand is mentioned in an article in them, you'll have an early warning system, as it were. But this is, as you said, it's only fake news is here to stay. And Hunter S. Thompson probably had it right when he said, "When the going gets tough, the weird turn pro."
That's a great quote. Well, Sheryl Sandberg was on the Today Show this morning, and she was saying, again, we don't think we're a news organization.
Bullshit.
It is bullshit. They are a news organization, and, well, we're taking a lot of steps to try and do stuff, but, we didn't influence the election. And, there I was, as I often am lately, yelling at the TV, yes, you did. That's not true. Anyway, one of the things that happened on Twitter in the past week was there's been a lot of people watching, a couple 100,000 people watching the Twitter account of a 7-year-old Syrian girl who's been documenting the horrors of war as in Aleppo. And yesterday, her feed went silent, and her name is Bana al-Abed, and she's 7. And with the help of her mother, Fatima, she's been documenting her experience, tweeting as she watched the city destroyed around her. And actually, the account went silent on Monday, and it was silent until yesterday when she tweeted, "Our house and area fell to the army. We're trapped under bombs that didn't stop since last night." And then her mother said that she's okay, but she's wounded. And she had captured the attention of the world, and she said she wants to be a teacher like her mother, but she's worried that she will not live long enough to see it happen. And she tweeted, "Please stop killing us. I need peace to become a teacher. The war is killing my dream." And the Twitter account had pictures and videos of her and her 2 brothers begging the international community for help to stop the bombing. And then the tweet that came, "We're sure this was the last one. We're sure the army is capturing us now. We'll see each other another day, dear world. Bye." And then shortly after that, the account, which might have been deleted by the family or for their safety or maybe by the Syrian army, just went away, but it came back. And so now the latest is, "Dear world, we're running out of food and hospitals. Dear world, why are you watching this unmoved?" from her mom. So, there's a lot more going on than any of us know how to deal with anymore.
Wow. Well, I don't have anything to follow.
There's nothing, just like, but that's what social media is. It makes it real. And that's the beauty of it. So when you mix that with fake news,
it makes it real or it makes it fake. Yeah.
It's a terrible thing.
Yeah. There's a fascinating Gizmodo story by Brian Menegas, I think is how you pronounce his name. The title is "Reddit is Tearing Itself Apart." And Reddit's kind of always held itself out as a beacon of free expression, laissez-faire discussion, and as a result, it's kind of been overrun by nationalist trolls. The staff of volunteer moderators are kind of losing hope in the site's future. The site's subreddit serve as fiefdoms. They kind of always have, but most importantly, there's a Reddit, the Donald, that was a place for Trump supporters to hang out, has kind of taken over and dominated the conversation. Reddit's leadership has really sort of failed to adequately address the problem. It's a long read. I won't go into the whole thing, but it's worth the time. It's kind of a how-to manual for how to mismanage a community. I've never, ever recommended people use Reddit as a communication channel, because it's just the inmates run the asylum over there. It's been that way for a long time.
It was designed that way. I mean, really, that's what it was. But the inmates have gotten crazier over the years, So this is a little creepy, if you ask me. Uber now, this is from an Ars Technica story by David Kravitz, and Uber now knows not only where you go, but what you do when the ride is over, even if your phone app is turned off. They're tracking user location from when the ride is requested until 5 minutes after it's over, and they claim that the surveillance is going to improve service by helping drivers find riders and making sure drop-offs are being done correctly. But I think it's pretty creepy. And Uber and the New York Attorney General's office in January had an agreement to help protect users' location data, and it requires Uber to encrypt location data and protect it with multi-factor authentication. But it's still kind of creepy, and you have the option to turn it off, and I'm gonna.
Well, I mean, I don't disagree with you that it's kind of creepy, but you think there's other apps that aren't tracking your location?
Well,
I mean,
everything is tracking everything all the time. So if you can control one, why the hell not?
I can actually see the logic of them doing that, because they're more likely to know where there are people to be picked up and stuff. So I do see the logic of it. I don't disagree that it's creepy, but again, there's all kinds of apps that are doing that.
Yep. A lot of things are creepy. So that brings us to better news, right?
It does. This is a very cute story. This is from Quartz. Leslie Josephs is the author. The San Francisco International Airport has a solution for the stress of travel, and the solution is called Lilu. Lilu is a therapy pig. So on December 5th, yes, on December 5th, Lilu became the first pig to join the ranks of San Francisco's International Airport's WAG Brigade, they call it. The WAG Brigade consists of therapy dogs and handler teams that hang out at the airport and help people in times of traveler distress, nervous travelers, and the animals delight them, so it brings their stress levels down. You can snuggle with the animals. The airport hopes Lilu can provide a little comic relief from the stress of air travel. She's certified by San Francisco's SPCA Animal Assisted Therapy Program. The SFO Instagram account is chock full of pictures of Lilu wearing a tutu, with a captain's hat on, and pink toenails, but you know what? No lipstick. Some 30 airports around the U.S. have some sort of animal therapy program, so this isn't new, but it is a great customer experience for an industry that needs to provide great customer experiences. And it's a great marketing tool because, I mean, you'll definitely experience some happiness seeing a cute little pig running around, and who can resist the urge of snapping a picture and sharing that picture with your social network? So pretty cool.
She dresses up in nurses' outfits, and she's adorable. I love her. So it turns out that instead of Netflix and chill, we might soon be able to say Netflix and new planets, and aliens, Netflix and little green men, because apparently Netflix is. This is from a story in The Mic by Eric Suber Jenkins, and they have an algorithm that lets users discover movie options, and now somehow it's helping discover new planetary systems. Researchers at the University of Toronto developed a new approach to identifying stable planetary systems based on the machine learning artificial intelligence that Netflix uses. So Dan Tomeo, who's the lead of the research and a postdoctoral fellow at the Center for Planetary Science there, he said that the new method is 1,000 times faster than traditional methods for predicting planetary stability. So this also predicts a way of assessing a planet's chances of harboring life. And his method could be used to analyze data from NASA's transiting exoplanet survey satellite, which is set to launch next year. And its mission is discovering new exoplanets close to our solar system. I think that's so cool.
That's very cool. Actually makes a lot of sense too. I mean, recommendation algorithms are based on what you know, that is similar to what your other data you're feeding into it. So I can see it.
So, Netflix and aliens. I love the idea.
Well, there you go. Well, there's plenty of sci-fi on Netflix. So I came across this really cool resource. Local Matters is what it's called. It's a weekly newsletter that curates and highlights local watchdog reporting from around the country. It's curated by 3 journalists, Joseph Cranny, Alexandra Gloricio, I think is how you pronounce it, and Brett Murphy, 3 journalists, and they review hundreds of front pages from newspapers in all 50 states throughout the week and send you their favorite stories every Sunday in email newsletter format. We'll include a link to the show notes on BeyondSocialMediaShow.com/167.
So apparently I need to get yet another newsletter.
Yes, exactly. That's exactly what I was thinking, but I'm like, this is too good to pass up.
I know, that one sounds great. So Amazon, speaking of science fiction, Amazon just launched their first cashier-free convenience store. No lines, no registers, and no self-checkout machines. God, I hate those self-checkout machines. And this is from a story in The Verge, and it's by Nat Garin. And right now it's just for Amazon employees, but it's going to open for the public in early 2017. And it's an 1,800 square foot retail space. It's in Seattle. And you just go in and you grab things that you want and you leave. And then the order gets charged to your Amazon account afterwards. And it works by using computer vision and sensors to detect the items you're taking out of the store. You start by scanning an app as you enter the shop and you do your normal shopping. And then sensors throughout the store identify the items in your cart and charge you on your account when you walk out the door. And it's going to feel like shoplifting, except you're actually being watched by more cameras than you can imagine. So no waiting in line, fussing with self-checking machines, but they could potentially track you in your phone as you browse the store to track the items you buy. And then looking at your movements, they could analyze things you may have noticed and pitch those to you afterwards. You pick something up off a shelf, you put it back down. They might try and sell you that afterwards. So to be like the pair of pants that follows you around the internet for the next 6 months because you looked at a different brand of toothpaste. But when you combine this, with your Amazon account, that sure is giving them a lot of information, but the trade-off is it's a lot of convenience for us.
So the Uber tracker is creepy, but this one is in Bass.
I'm not going there. I'm not going there. I won't. I don't go to stores if I can help it. I have my groceries delivered. I use Fresh Direct. I've been a Fresh Direct customer since the day they opened. The only store I ever go to is Trader Joe's, and that's because that's fun. The rest of them, you can keep them. But yeah, it's creepy.
Yeah. This is I don't know how to transition here, but there's a BMW was in the news recently for an interesting story from CNET. Gail Fashingbauer Cooper is her name, the reporter. The Seattle police caught an alleged car thief by enlisting the help of BMW to both track and then remotely lock the criminal in the very car that the criminal stole.
You locked him in?
You locked him in. Jonah Spangenthal Lee is the deputy director of communications for the Seattle Police Department, posted a summary of the event on the SPD's blog, saying a car thief awoke from a sound slumber Sunday morning to find that he had been remotely locked inside a stolen BMW just as Seattle police officers were bearing down on him. So this is a kind of an entertaining police blotter, as it were. The suspect found a key fob that was mistakenly left in the car by a friend who'd borrowed the car, and the owner found, his car was missing, called the cops. The cops located the car with the help of BMW. BMW locked the vehicle. The cops surrounded the car and awoke the criminal from a deep sleep. He tried to drive away, couldn't get the car in gear, and was arrested without incident. The 38-year-old suspect, who was carrying a small amount of methamphetamine, was booked into King County Jail for auto theft and drug possession.
Good Lord. Now that's creepy too,
There you go. I was just going to say.
Out over here. So on to lovelier thoughts. There are 2 spectacularly wonderful Christmas ads that have already been racking up gazillions of page views. The first one is John Lewis, and it features Buster the Boxer, and it's got everything you might want. It's got kids, it's got a dog, it's got presents, it's got Christmas music. It got 21 million views on YouTube in the first 3 weeks with a month to go to Christmas. But then the one that everybody's talking about now that's already had nearly 7 million views in the past week is a 3-minute long ad for Allegro, which is a Polish online auction platform. And I'm not quite sure how this ad relates to the auction platform, but it's an old guy and he's sitting alone and he gets a package, and the package ultimately has a way for him to go and visit his family who are in the United States, and he gets his ticket, his passport, and he goes home and he, visits with his family. By the end of it, you're in tears. And, but why is this auction house doing so? I don't know, but it's very sad and wonderful and, warm and Christmassy, and it's nice.
Very nice.
It's like, they win a couple $zillion. I don't know why they spent it, but it's very nice ad.
Very cool. Reuters has an algorithm. This is from The Verge. Amar Tour is the author. They've developed a tool that's capable of automatically detecting and verifying breaking news on Twitter in an attempt to report on events more rapidly and accurately. The tool is called Reuters News Tracer, and it analyzes tweets in real time. It filters out spam. It groups similar tweets into clusters based on similar words, and then classifies those clusters into topics and generates short summaries about each one. So the tweets with words like bomb or explosion, for example, might be grouped in under a terrorist attack cluster. The idea is to help automate the news gathering process with speed and at scale. Last year, Associated Press began using algorithms to write full stories with a tool called Automatic Insights, and Le Monde, the French newspaper, is also working on a browser extension that will automatically flag fake or misleading news. So 2 more examples. I can't wait to see how that one works. But interesting story for Reuters having basically a flagging system for breaking news.
Well, and interesting that they recognize that the news breaks on Twitter.
Yep.
And the point of it all really is that Twitter is the fastest news medium because nobody else has however many million reporters on the ground at any given time. So the issue then becomes vetting the news, but when 10 people say I'm an eyewitness to XYZ, they probably are.
Yep.
So interesting, but
Twitter, the journalists and the people that are on Twitter are people who are going to be reporting the news. So that, plus it's completely public. I mean, unlike Facebook, it's the content is public. So.
But the funny part is, like, the first thing I do when I see news on Twitter is go to Reuters or AP to see if it's true.
Yep.
So Starbucks is doing something a little odd besides opening up coffee bars with $10 cups of estate-grown coffee, which I was waiting for somebody to do. They have unveiled My Starbucks Barrister, and that's a chatbot for mobile users. And this is from a GeekWire story by Todd Bishop. And they're going to use artificial intelligence and chatbots to supplement and speed up their human employees. And they call it an innovative conversational ordering system. And it's on a mobile app called My Starbucks Barrister. And you're able to put your orders via voice command or messaging, and then they're delivered with rapid speed and convenience, and you just run in and pick up your whatever with whatever in it. And it has its first rollout on iOS in limited beta in early 2017, and then it'll be available on more iOS and Android users in the next releases. And the company says it has 12 million Starbucks Rewards members, up 18% from last year, plus 8 million mobile paying customers, with a third using its mobile order and pay technology. And that lets you place your order by smartphone and pick it up without waiting in line. But of course, with so many people doing it, there's a line of people who are not waiting in line. But but they see the opportunity to expand it, and the U.S. and Canada and the U.K. represent 40% of its global footprint, but they've started to license stores in other parts of the world. And one just came around the corner from me, so there goes the neighborhood.
Well, Google's Twitter account has been taken over by a bot kind of. When you tweet at Google with a food emoji, Google will respond with an animated GIF of a Google search for whatever food. So I did pizza. Will it respond with an animated GIF of a Google search for pizza nearby with a link to the search results? So you just click on that and you can find the closest pizza place.
And all you did was
just
picture of
tweeted
an
at
emoji?
Google with a picture with an emoji of a pizza.
That is so cool.
Yeah.
Now, what other things? It's only food right now?
I haven't tried it with anything else, but food works.
Oh, I love that. I really love that. I think you have another one.
No, that's it. I'm all done with the good stuff.
Okay, so that brings us to shiny objects. Yes.
It does. Yes. What do you got?
Okay. Well, an interesting one. It's called Answer the Public, and it's a consumer insight tool for PR and SEO and marketing, and it just lets you know what reporters are interested in and what people are interested in, and it matches up you with the people who are looking for those sources. Pretty cool.
Okay, so it's kind of a help a reporter out kind of thing.
Yeah, but totally automated. And the other one that I have is Press Halo, which is an AI press release distribution service, and that matches your releases with journalist beats, and then learns over time what people you should be pitching. I don't know what either one of these cost, but pretty fascinating.
Yeah, it is fascinating. I came across I didn't even know they had this, but Alexa, you can get Alexa Skills, which are the apps for Amazon Echo, to add functionality to Amazon Echo, but you can get Amazon Skills on Amazon. Go figure. But they've got a section of the Amazon website that's devoted to skills, so you can just search that section and find the skills that you want. Very easy way to install them into your Echo if you own one. So cool.
Skills like
skills are apps that just functionality that you add. That's what Amazon calls apps for the Echo. So,
okay. So
iHeartRadio skill. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not I need a plumber.
Yeah, it's kind of confusing. Kind of Google way of naming stuff.
Right. Yeah. Well, Google being Google, that's how things work over there. But the other thing that I'm using right now is I finally broke down and paid for FollowerWonk, and I was a little confused about how to use it, and their customer service was pretty terrific. So basically, my simplest subscription allows me to use it with 3 different Twitter profiles, so I can bring clients into there. And the more you want to have, the more you have to pay. But you can rotate the ones that are in there if you need to. But FollowerWonk is great, and everybody was mourning the fact that they were going to shutter it, and then they got some money infused into it. And so for $29 a month, you can have all of the features that FollowerWonk ever had, and some great new stuff that they added. So I highly recommend it.
Yeah, it's great. I use it all the time.
Yep. Perfect for research.
Yep. So projects, what do you got?
Well, today's the anniversary of the murder of John Lennon, and I wrote a blog post about it. And back in that time, I was in Muncie, Indiana, with the Emmy Award-winning filmmaker Peter Davis, who did the film Hearts and Minds. And he was making a PBS series about Muncie because sociologists consider it to be the typical American town. And it was so dull. It was really dull. I'm sorry, Indianans, but it was. But then we heard that John Lennon had been killed, and we came out of our hotel, and there was half the town lined up at the record store, the one record store, and they were all waiting in line to buy John Lennon's music, and that made us all, a lot of people were crying, including us. It was all just so sad. And this morning, Yoko Ono posted that since that time, 1.2 million people in America have been killed with guns. And, isn't it time for peace? And then I included my all-time favorite John Lennon song, which happens to be Instant Karma. And, there are salutes all over the internet, but that that experience just stayed with me all these years, and it still makes me want to cry. But the other thing that happened today was we learned tonight that John Glenn, the first astronaut to circle the planet, has died at the age of 95. And what a life, what a beautiful life. You know, he's done, I mean, what didn't that man do?
Right.
And he was such a decent, wonderful human being. And he was married to the same woman for 70 years. I mean, it's pretty, and she survives him. But, you know, when he died, he was on a mountain climbing expedition when he got sick. And they had to take him out, you know, and emergency whatever they did, and he was taken to a hospital, and then he died. And so that happened tonight, and so we've lost two heroes.
Yep. Well, another thing, I mean, two things on that. Buzz Aldrin is in the hospital. He was being treated by a New Zealand doctor. He's in the hospital in New Zealand, obviously. The doctor's name, Dr. David Bowie.
Get out of town,
Yeah,
really?
seriously. Nope. And then,
no coincidences, right?
Exactly. John Lennon, I heard about John Lennon's death. I was in high school in Fort Wayne, Indiana. Yeah, I was in bands then. We wore black armbands to school to salute John Lennon. Yeah, very sad, but yeah. Muncie, Indiana, typical American city. I went to school in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, and that was always considered the typical American city where products would launch because it was so ordinary.
Yeah, well, Muncie was a big basketball town.
Yep.
That was the basic.
Indiana's huge on basketball.
The entire town came to the basketball game on Friday night, and everybody had a Farrah Fawcett haircut.
Yeah.
Well, he's big, a lot of big hair, but
right.
I mean, it was, you know, it was just really such a sharp contrast to New York. But you know, love is love, and people love John Lennon, so that was kind of nice. You know, it made me feel American.
We have a little bit of news to announce. Beyond Social Media Show is now on iHeartRadio. So if you are an iHeartRadio aficionado, you can listen to our show there now, finally. So we'll have a link to our show page on iHeartRadio in the show notes on beyondsocialmediashow.com/167. Let's finish this up with the daily numbers. Social media use by channel. This is from Pew Internet and American Life Project. They always do great research. They've updated their social penetration stats. 86% of Americans are currently internet users. These are the numbers, the percentage of online adults who use Facebook. Big surprise, 79% of American online adults use Facebook. Instagram comes in next at 32%, so Facebook and Instagram. Pinterest is next at 31%, LinkedIn at 29%, and Twitter at 24%. So there you go.
Well, you know, I think that numbers are not the only element of influence.
No, they're not.
Yeah.
Facebook has critical mass. They've got Facebook and Instagram. They've got everybody's on them. Pinterest is a visually oriented communications channel, so you need to consider it for that. LinkedIn, the professional network, so you need to figure that out. Twitter, influencers, and media. So, yeah, you're going to make those decisions not just based on numbers. You're right.
Yeah, I find that study interesting, though. So that brings us to the end of episode 167 of the Beyond Social Media Show. And after every show, we post the video, and the video is time-stamped so that you're able to click on a time and jump directly to a segment of the video that you're interested in. And we post all of the links to the stories that we talked about in our blog post, which will be at beyondsocialmediashow.com/167. And you can find David Erickson. He's at D.Erickson on Twitter. He blogs at estrategyblog.com and creativepr.com/blog. I'm B.L. Achman. I blog at What's Next blog and Paw Fun blog. And on Twitter, I am at What's Next, and I run a video interview company called Maximum-Plus. The show, once again, BeyondSocialMediaShow.com is our website. On Twitter, we're BS Media Show, and we are on YouTube, and we're on Facebook, and we'd love to see you in any of those places. And we will be back next week, same bat channel, and same time, and we hope you'll join us then. Thanks.
Thanks.